Good evening, everybody. Thanks for joining us on our virtual platform. I don't have to tell you that the times are a little different, just evidenced by what we're doing here today. This would all be a series of meetings face-to-face at different places in our service district. In this case, probably different places along the corridor, the bus rapid transit corridor, the river corridor, which is quite long. But instead, we adapt, we change, we modify. And we're glad you're here with us so that we can talk about something that we're really proud of, bus rapid transit in the capital region. This project actually started 10 years ago when we've been laying the groundwork for 40 miles of BRT. I remember when we first talked about 40 miles of BRT, there were some stickers in the audience. People didn't think that we could ever build 40 miles. Well, we're 2/3 of the way home. And shortly, when we open the river corridor, we'll be there. And we have funding for the Washington Western corridor, the purple line, the third line in the 40-mile link. So it is very close, and we're proud of that. We're proud of our staff, we're proud of our employees, and we're proud of all of you who have helped us to build what we think is one of the best transit systems in North America. So a couple of rules and regulations, I guess. If you or someone that you know has a question, use the Q&A feature on the screen. All questions will be answered live. And after the meeting concludes, you can find a recording of this meeting on our YouTube channel, and you can find us at iRide CDTA. So some simple rules along the way. But as I said, we're really excited about the river corridor line. It's a 16-mile corridor, and boy, does it stretch throughout the service district. It starts in the south end of Albany, moves through downtown Albany into the village of Menands, through Watervliet, over to Troy, north into Lansingburg, with an arm into Cohoes, and then eventually to Waterford. So Saratoga County, Rensselaer County, Albany County, and a number of municipalities along the way. Real urban area, lots of residential locations, lots of employment locations. The perfect corridor for bus rapid transit service. So it'll connect neighborhoods, it'll connect major destinations, and I think you're going to find it a level above of service that's along that corridor right now. We're building on the success of our Route 5 BRT. We think we know how to operate that service. We hope that we've worked out the kinks, worked out the bugs, and we're ready to go. Just a little commercial. We have, as I said earlier, funding for the Washington Western BRT. That'll be the purple line. That will connect downtown Albany, Crossgates Mall, and think about all of the major destinations in between. The real treat there is there'll be a bus-only lane through the Harriman campus into UAlbany. That will be the first such advancement in the capital region, and I believe again the only bus-only corridor in upstate New York. So that's a glimpse of things to come. We're here though to talk about the river corridor and the features and the service features that you can expect beginning the first week in November, and to give you lots of details about that, and hopefully to stir your questions or stir your thoughts. Ross Farrell, our Director of Planning, who shepherded this and the other BRT projects along and has done a great job. Ross is going to give you a PowerPoint presentation on the river corridor. Ross?
All right, thank you, Carm, for that introduction, and thank you to everyone who is participating on the call today. All right, thank you. And again, thanks, Carm, for that introduction, and thank you for everyone who's joining us this evening. My name again is Ross Farrell. I'm the Director of Planning for CDTA. I'm going to be giving you a presentation that'll last probably about 20 minutes. That'll explain what the Blue Line is, how and where it's operating, as well as changes to our local bus service that's occurring on the corridor. You'll have an opportunity, as Carm had said, to ask questions. We're also posting this presentation to our website and the full presentation to our YouTube channel. I'm going to start with the overall vision of the 40 miles of bus rapid transit. This is what Carm had touched on in his introduction. This consists of 3 lines, the red line, the blue line, and the purple line. The red line is the one that's in operation now that goes from downtown Albany to downtown Schenectady through Colony and Niskayuna. Ridership on that line after it rolled out in 2011 increased by 25%. And then we're hoping for the blue line to do the same. The blue line will have a similar look, feel, function as the red line. It'll operate, as Carm was talking about before, between Waterford and Cohoes into Troy, across the river to Watervliet, Menands, and into multiple neighborhoods in the city of Albany. And that service is going to begin this Sunday, or this coming Sunday, November 8th, so about a week and a half from now, and we're looking forward to that. In the future, we have received funding for the purple line from the Federal Transit Administration. Construction is underway on that line, and we hope to roll out the service in 2023. Next is the what is the blue line and what is BRT? So a key part about bus rapid transit is the rapid. Service will be faster. The buses will be able to travel from end to end on the corridor with shorter travel times than before. And this is mainly due to a number of elements, including limited stop service. So just like a subway line or just like a rail station or subway line or a rail service, the stations are located only at the locations with the highest ridership. In addition to this, we have a number of different infrastructure elements on the corridor that'll speed up the service, one of which is transit signal priority. This is where the bus and the traffic signals on the corridor have technology that allow them to communicate. So as a bus approaches a traffic signal, they're more likely to get a green light to be able to get through that intersection. In addition, we have 4 what are called queue jumpers. And what queue jumpers are essentially small, short bus lanes at heavily congested intersections that allow buses to bypass the queue at that congested intersection and get in front of the traffic that's there. In addition, the service is more frequent than our traditional bus service. The service also has a longer span, meaning longer hours of operation. So the service will operate early in the morning to late at night. Another element that's unique to the blue line is the reduction in transfers. So any passenger right now that has to travel through downtown Albany or downtown Troy, your transfer will be eliminated. So that's for any customer that currently would have to transfer to the 22 or the 522. Again, this service links, this service provides connections all the way from Cohoes and Waterford all the way down to the south end of Albany. And so anywhere on that corridor is a 1-seat ride. So transfers there are eliminated. And finally, just like with the Bus Plus red line, the blue line will have complimentary Wi-Fi. So when you approach a new BRT blue line station, the first thing that you'll notice is the new shelters. The shelters are larger, they have more seating, bike racks, improved lighting, they have security cameras, and they're also uniquely branded. Just like the red line where the red and silver buses went to the red and silver stations, for the blue line, it will be those silver and blue buses will go to the silver and blue stations. This is to make sure that the service is unique and shows that it is a step above regular traditional bus service. In addition to this, when you look around a BRT station, you'll see a lot of improvements as well. That is in mainly pedestrian infrastructure. So what you'll see is new sidewalks, you'll see repaved roadways, you'll see new crosswalks, new traffic signals. CDTA has invested heavily, millions of dollars as part of this project to improve the environment that surrounds our stations and will improve and make connections, pedestrians, easier connection and better accessibility to our stations. And also, at some of our stations, we'll have heated sidewalks. This is a first time in CDTA's history of having this. So this will be able to eliminate ice and snow during the winter months, which will further improve accessibility to our stations and to and from our buses. Special thanks to our facilities department, Creighton Manning Engineering, Callanan Industries, and all of our contractors for all the hard work that's happened over the last year in building this line and getting it ready for rollout. Next is the actual service that we're providing with the Blue Line, and it is shown here as two sections, two segments. So the northern corridor and the southern corridor. This will just make it easier for me to explain the service changes that are occurring. The northern corridor includes any location in Waterford, Cohoes, Troy, or Watervliet. Southern corridor is any location in Menands and the city of Albany. The first thing that you'll notice by looking at this map is that the route, the Blue Line, is unique in the fact that it has two routes serving the BRT line, and that's the 922 and the 923. That's different than the Red Line, which only has one route, the 905. The reason we did this is to allow the service to branch off in the north and branch off in the south and provide connections to different communities in those areas. So now I will go through the routing of the BRT line, give you a general overview. First is with the 922 Northern Branch. That'll start in downtown Cohoes on Remsen Street and go through downtown across Van Schaik Island to Lansingburg and Troy, where we'll meet up with the 923. The 923 will begin in Waterford. It'll cross the Hudson River and then head south on 2nd Avenue through Lansingburg, where it will then meet up with the 922. The 922 and the 923 at this point will work in conjunction with one another. They'll have staggered schedules, and what that means is if both routes are running every 20 minutes, then when they overlap, they'll be running every 10 minutes. Or if both routes are running every 30 minutes, when they overlap, they'll be running every 15 minutes. So when they overlap, that'll happen at Powers Park at 111th Street in Lansingburg in the city of Troy. The service will continue south on 2nd Avenue through the rest of Lansingburg, as well as the North Central neighborhood on 2nd Avenue and River Streets, before entering downtown Troy, operating on 4th and 5th Avenues, before then crossing over the Hudson River to the city of Watervliet, where there'll be two stations, one at Watervliet 19th and one in the Port Schuyler neighborhood. The service will continue then in the village of Menands along Broadway, Route 32, and it'll continue a straight shot into Albany along Broadway, and then in Albany, serving multiple neighborhoods in the northern part of the city before reaching downtown Albany. In downtown Albany, the service will jog over Clinton Avenue and then proceed on South Pearl Street. The service will then go through Pearl Street, through downtown Albany, and into the city of Albany's South End, up to the point of 2nd Avenue and South Pearl Street. At that point, the two routes diverge again, and the 922 will head up 2nd Avenue to Delaware Avenue, while the 923 will continue down South Pearl until the final stop at the Albany County Rail Trail. So this slide again is just describing how the two routes interface. It is one Blue Line service, but made of two routes. And again, when those routes overlap, starting at South Pearl Street and 2nd in Albany, and then up to 2nd Avenue and 11th Street in Troy, the two services will be staggered and complement each other. So what is that level of service that the two routes are going to provide? This gives a snapshot. You'll be seeing schedules online on our website momentarily, probably by tomorrow actually. And what that'll give you is the details of your individual trip. But in general, what this shows the service of the two lines when they're working together. On weekdays, service will be 4:30 a.m. to 2 a.m., so nearly 24 hours a day, service will be provided. The frequency will be roughly 10 to 12 minutes throughout the entire day, with a reduction in that frequency late in the evening. On Saturdays, service will run 5 a.m. to 2:30 with a frequency of every 15 minutes throughout the day, while 20 minutes in the early mornings and late night. On Sunday, service will be 5:30 a.m. to 1:30 a.m. And again, service will be roughly every 20 minutes throughout the day, with it being 30 minutes in the late night and early morning. So the next slide and the next maps section of the presentation that I'm going to give is related to the service changes that are happening to local bus routes. So because the BRT is being put into place, we want to make sure that our local bus routes complement and don't compete with the BRT line. So with that, you'll see a number of different adjustments to our local service. In the northern part of the corridor, again, this is the service in Cohoes, Waterford, and Troy and Watervliet. You have the routes 522, the Route 80, and the Route 85, as well as the Route 22. All of these will see some level of change, which I'll go into now. The Route 80 and the 85 will combine together to become the new Route 85. So the Route 80 will be discontinued, but the Route 85 will just move over on 5th Avenue and 6th Avenue, serving North Central and the Lansingburg neighborhood of the city of Troy, leading up to Corliss Park. Because the 85 is now moved over to cover the 80, what remains, that is where the BRT will now operate, where the 85 used to operate, on River Street and 2nd Avenue. If you're traveling on the 85 now and you're traveling south, anywhere south of downtown, so anywhere between downtown Troy and Hudson Valley Community College, you will not see any change in service. The new Route 85, below to the left is the table describing its frequencies and span. I'll let you review that yourselves instead of going into each detail. But I will talk about the adjustments for any customer. If you are currently traveling on the 80 from Corliss Park or Diamond Hill, you will now use the Route 85, or you can walk to the 923 branch of the Blue Line. Any customer north of 111th Street can use the 923 branch of the Blue Line on 2nd Avenue, or the new Route 85 as local service, which will be on 5th Avenue. Any customer south of 111th Street can use both the 922 and the 923, as well as the 85 on 5th Ave and 6th Avenue. And as I talked about before, there will be no change for any customers traveling on the 85 south of downtown Troy. Next is the Route 522. This service was actually suspended in the summer due to changes in ridership related to COVID-19, but it will be introduced as part of the BRT rollout. And the changes to the 522, which in the past it traveled through the city of Cohoes, downtown Cohoes, into downtown Troy and downtown Watervliet. The service will now go directly from the city of Cohoes and downtown Cohoes, get on 787 and go express to downtown Albany. If you are currently traveling from downtown Troy or downtown Watervliet to downtown Albany, you obviously now have the 922 and the 923, which are express services leading directly to downtown Albany. With that, the other changes, the service will be reduced in the number of trips. So right now, the service, well, before it was suspended, service was every 5 or 6 trips in the morning, 5 or 6 trips in the afternoon. Now it'll be 3 trips in the morning, 3 trips in the afternoon, spaced apart every 60 minutes. The next set of service changes, and by far, as you can see from this map, by far the most complex number of changes is what is happening in the southern part of the corridor, or primarily what's happening in the city of Albany. As we discussed before, this presentation is on our YouTube channel. The PowerPoint will be posted to our website. So if you need time to review this map in any more detail, you can go on and look at that at your own time. But what this shows is a number of different bus routes that overlap with the BRT that are making adjustments, and I'll jump into those right now. First is the new Route 106. This is a new route that was formed by merging the Route 6 and the Route 138. As you can see from the map on the left, both of those routes overlapped with each other at St. Peter's Hospital and downtown Albany. So we decided it would be better to merge the 2 routes together and make a Beltline or a circulator service. This is very similar for those who know our Route 100, which is a very successful neighborhood route, and we're hoping to match that success with the new Route 106. The service does provide better direct connections outside of the river corridor, because anyone who currently now would have to transfer from the 6 to the 138 or 138 to the 6 would no longer need to. So whether you're on 2nd Avenue or Whitehall Road and you wanted to go anywhere on Lark Drive or Livingston Avenue or someplace on Allen Street, now you have a one-seat ride and don't need to transfer. The service levels, again, are to the left. I'll go into the customer adjustments. So if you are currently on the 6 and you are traveling on South Pearl Street, you can use the 922, the 923, the 106, as well as the 107, which I'll talk about in a second. Actually, in addition to that, I should have put on this slide is the Route 100, which will also operate on South Pearl Street in this area. So you have a number of different services to choose from. Customers on 2nd Avenue would use the 922 branch of the Blue Line, as well as the 106. If you're a customer of Whitehall Road, you would just switch from the 6 to the 106. And any customer that's traveling to St. Peter's Hospital can use the 106 or can use our Route 13. The next change is the Route 7, which will become the Route 107. As you can see from the map to the left, the routing of the 7 was a little odd based on limitations we had with infrastructure on the roadway. Luckily, in the last year, through a partnership with the City of Albany as well as the developer of a site near Mount Hope Drive, there's now a traffic signal on near Mount Hope Drive and Route 9W. With that minor piece of infrastructure, well, minor to some, but very important to CDTA and to our riders, allows us to finally do is to be able to travel both directions on Mount Hope Drive and then be able to take a left onto Route 9W and travel in both directions on 9W out to the shopping destinations that are in Glenmont. The Route 107 service levels, again, are to the left. Adjustments for any resident that lives on Mount Hope Drive now, you finally have two-way service with the 107. Any customer at the bottom of Mount Hope Drive near South Pearl, or the bottom of McCarty Avenue near South Pearl as well, at Ezra Apprentice Homes or Nut Grove Apartments, can use the branch service of the 923 as well as the 107. Again, any customer who's on South Pearl Street can use the 922, the 923, the 106, the 107, and the 100. Any service will be eliminated south of the Albany County Rail Trail and Old South Pearl, and this was due to low ridership in that area of the route. So the remaining corridors, the remaining route corridors are the that I wanted to touch on but don't have maps because there's no change in routing, is the Route 22, which has schedule adjustments, but the route stays the same. So there will be a minor reduction in frequencies throughout the day, and this is mainly because of the fact that a good amount of the riders of the 22 will move over to the Blue Line because the two routes almost mimic each other. And so there'll be a slight reduction in frequency, and when I say slight, I mean that at one point, if it was running every 10 minutes, it'll now run every 15 minutes. If it was every 15 minutes, it'll now run every 20 minutes. But always remember that this is in addition to all of the service that's being provided by the 922 and the 923. The Route 100, even though it overlaps with a number of different routes that I discussed today, especially overlapping with the Blue Line, there will be no change in service, so the route and the schedule and the frequency will remain as is today. We wanted to put this up there again because it's a very popular route, and there is a number of different choices on South Pearl Street and North Pearl Street for people to transfer from the Route 100 to the Blue Line. And finally, with the BRT Red Line, another route that you won't see a change in service. We put it up here, though, to remind everyone that our BRT system is one integrated system, and where the service interconnects is in downtown Albany. So you can now use the Blue Line service to be able to get to downtown Albany faster and be able to transfer to the Red Line, which opens you up to a number of different destinations in Colony, Niskuna, and Schenectady. And so with that, I wanted to say thank you to everyone. That was a lot of information, especially for anyone who is new to CDTA and new to the bus routes that we have. I've thrown up two websites here. The first is our cdta.org/BRT. That is where all the information and the new bus schedules and this PowerPoint will be posted. cdta.org contact form. That's where you can write in on any question or comment. And you can always call us at our Customer Information Center, which is 518-482-8822. And so with that, I think we have questions. We have 5 questions. No questions? All right. No questions, that's great. Thank you to anyone. Again, if you do have any questions, feel free to send them into CDTA or to call us. I did want to remind everyone, as Carm had said, that the YouTube channel, this entire presentation will be posted to our YouTube channel, I Ride CDTA. I've got the websites there. Thank you.